Hey there, this is Malorian, and this will be another Paintisode. So for those who aren't used to what a Paintisode is, basically, you're not supposed to be really watching. You don't need to. Just go and grab whatever you want to paint. I'm going to be painting here. I'm going to be chatting about really whatever. And then after an hour, I'll have some stuff painted. You'll have some stuff painted, and it'll be good news. Now, what I'm painting today, if I can get my glasses clean, and sorry again, actually, this is a little bit later than I normally do. I had actually taken out my son. We are part of Scouts Canada and all this stuff, so we had to drop off popcorn and all those things. So we had to go deal with that, and had to take advantage because it's only -10. It's been -30 a couple of days ago, so take advantage of this -10 right now. But it all went fairly well. Hey there, this is Malorian, and this will be another. Stop that. But anyway, what I'm going to be painting here today is continuing on the Galleon. The Galleon is one of the larger models from the Mercenaries from War Machine, and so far to this point, I've really just gotten the green all over the place. There's still a few more places I could do it a little bit better, but now it's just really taking it. So I'm starting to get some of the other details. And actually making it so it's actually, painted and stuff. So like I said, I'll be talking about a couple of different things. I told you guys last time what you should do is really just kind of join me and add me on your Google Plus. And what I'm going to do beforehand is I'm just going to post up, post up your questions. And then that way, if I do that, say 24 hours ahead, you guys will have time to post up whatever you guys want me to talk about, and I can then talk about during the show. Did not start that yet today because I believe people are still kind of doing that. Plus, I had some things I wanted to talk about anyway. But hey, if you do end up watching this and you want to post up a question, go for it, and I'll start yapping about it. I think the first thing I want to talk about, though, is actually kind of a fantasy topic, and it's more just the fact that I find myself missing it more than I thought I would. It's more, I think the real mistake that I made was that I didn't unsubscribe from all my old, friends. I'm going to call them friends from fantasy. And so I've been watching their videos. And so their battle reports, a lot of rants. I mean, there's all this whole end times thing going on right now. And so there's all these different talks about whether it's good for the game, fun, blah, blah, blah. And so getting to watch all those things, and then I always find myself where I want to weigh in, right? I would love to just jump in there and say, this is my review of this book or whatever. That's not what I do anymore. And I was almost kind of thinking how silly it is that I walk away from fantasy, but then I still follow it. Not only do I follow the videos of these guys, but I'm always kind of listening to see what's happening in the local scene here, just to kind of see how the meta is going to develop and all the rest of it. So I don't know. I mean, I can't see myself saying, screw it, I'm just going to unsubscribe from guys like, Anthony and the Sustainable Center and stuff like that. I just, I want to see what they're talking about and stuff like that, right? And I'm just going to have to find a way to put in my comments. I mean, that's what I've been doing, is just commenting on their videos and getting my say that way. But even with that, I've been getting a lot more hate that way, where there's a lot of things now where I don't believe that they're good changes. And like I've talked about before, it keeps on seeming like I'm coming across as the guy who, leaves and then kind of slams it as soon as he leaves. It's not what I'm trying to do. There's just a lot of stuff going on right now that I don't think is really good for the game. But either way, I know one of the guys I'm following there is Lord Tremendous, and he does his rants, and it's really good to see him doing that, right? Just saying, hey, whatever my opinion is, and there's some stuff I agree with, some things I don't. But I always respect those opinion type videos, because it really is taking a lot of chances, right? If you have a channel and you just say what everybody wants you to say, well, then great, that's all happiness. It's takes some balls to go out there and say something that is going to piss some people off. So like I said, me and him don't always agree on everything, but I still always like seeing whenever he has a rant out there. I do see I have a follower now or someone's watching, so if you want to, post up and I'll try and get your question. For some reason, things are going kind of slow here today, so hopefully it pops up pretty quickly. With that as well, one of the things that I had somebody point out to me, which was kind of funny, was that on the Blue Table Gaming, they had a video where they always kind of do this thing. Sean there from Blue Table Gaming kind of goes over what they're working on and all the rest of it. And they were talking about all these trolls. And the guy's like, oh, that's a lot of trolls. That's kind of like what Malorian would do. And then the guy corrects him and says, oh, no, if it was Malorian, it'd be 3 hordes of trolls. And so first of all, it's good to see that I'm being remembered, and all the rest of it. Plus, I don't think that before Blue Table Gaming has really talked about me before. They've always done their own thing, and maybe they kind of go out of their way to make sure they don't name drop or anything like that, but it was, it felt good to be mentioned like that again. So, and I know I get the comments all the time, like, come on, Malorian, come back to fantasy, but it's not going to happen yet. I still have a lot I got to do. Oh, and I got 2 posts from myself saying post questions, so at least I know this thing's working. Unfortunately, nobody's watching right now, which is kind of what I expected when I just kind of jumped in here and started doing a late Paintisode. I did do an invite out to Whoopie Womp just in case, see what he's up to, but I know it's even later for him, so probably not. But yeah, doing the Tale of War Machine painters here. It's actually looking like a pretty bad month, actually. This is the thing where I'm trying to get all the local guys to paint up their stuff. And so for this month here, or last month, let's talk about that first. People did a great job, and there was a lot of stuff being painted, and people who were falling behind were catching up. The way I have it set up is you have to be painting 10 points a month. And then if you fall short of that, what happens is it's not like you get kicked out or anything like that. I just have this line of shame, and you just fall below the line of shame. Pretty simple, right? But whereas last month, people were starting to catch back up and, getting above the line of shame, for this month here, looks like a lot of people did not get to their work. So, and usually December is kind of a slower month too, because even though you have more time off of work and stuff like that, it's because you're all busy doing Christmas type things, right? Parties and preparation and all the rest of it. So hopefully some of these guys make the time to make it happen. For my part, it doesn't really matter, right? On my part, I am well ahead of where I need to be. I believe I'm pretty close to actually just being done for, if I did nothing else, I'd already be done all the painting I need. I mean, this guy here, Galleon, he's 18 points, so that's pretty much like 2 months' work right there, right? Now, this is a guy I've been chipping at for a while. It's not like I just did all of this in the last little bit here, but he's also pretty simple. I mean, a lot of these jacks, these robots, are pretty simple. And that's still another video I still have not gotten to yet, is that speed painting one. I was going to be doing that one actually yesterday, but I made the big mistake of asking my wife if she needed any help. And then I proceeded to spend the next 4 hours helping her with her scrapbooking and crafting. So unfortunately, did not get anything done there. But that's okay. That's still a video I really want to put out. I mean, like I said, I don't have a lot to offer for painting tip-wise, but this is something where I actually do have something to offer. So I want to make sure I get that out there. And in a way, I almost feel like it'd be a bad video because I'm kind of encouraging people to be lazy and taking the easy way out. But the way that I see it is that, sure, I'm encouraging more simplistic methods that don't look as good. However, at least I'm encouraging people to get their stuff painted, right? So come on, that's got to be worth something. See, like I got a couple of people now. I keep on numbers. I don't know if it's what's going on, but it always says like I got 1, I got 2, I got 3, and then 0 again, and then 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0. So if you're on here and you want me to talk about something, like I said, just go ahead and post it up there, be it War Machine or fantasy or movies, whatever. I'm just relaxing and painting, and hopefully you guys are doing the same. In fact, I could always just go to the other one. That's why I always have this other one going, so I can just refresh it and see if you guys have any comments here, because it's way faster than waiting for it to show up on the actual thing. Load, 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 load. Killer Tube saying, I'm sorry about posting about your fish and then leaving last time. I did finish watching a few days later. You always Paintisode so late. And I know that definitely is an issue. I'm off here on the West Coast. And so for everybody who's over there on the East Coast, you know, we have daylight savings times here. So I can't always just say the time difference because that changes. But I do know it is an issue. I can't really change it very easily. I mean, clearly I could just be doing this at other times, but being that I'm a father and have to work around when my kids are up and when my kids go to bed, it kind of has to be this late. And again, that's where I think I need to be doing this thing where I get you guys joined up on me on, you know, Google Plus or whatever, and so that the day before I can post up, you know, hey, give me your questions, so that then later on, whenever you do have time to open up the video and paint and whatever else you want, you can hear about what you want to hear about. It was also good. I got a email from, I don't know what I call him, old acquaintance or whatever, but he is James from the Tale of Four Geeks. I'm not even sure if that podcast is still going. You know, I used to listen to a bunch of fantasy podcasts, and that was one of the first things to go. But he was a member on there. Oh, but anyway, I'll finish this and I'll get this question here. But he was getting into War Machine and asking me questions about Khador. And you know what, guys? If you have any questions about that stuff, just feel free to send them my way, right? Even though it's not my main faction or whatever, I can be helping you get into a faction, get armies made, work on tactics. You know, it doesn't really matter whether it's Signar or Khador or whatever. I can still help you guys out, especially the newer players. So I got one here from Rafael Maj saying, sup, first question, what presents would you get for yourself for this Christmas? What would be next reviews for casters? I demand Krios and Sorsha. Making those would help you bring new people that bought starters. Sorry, guys. Yeah, let's start with the first thing. What I get myself for Christmas? Probably be gun mages. One of the things that I first kind of disregarded, and now I'm kind of realizing this a lot better than I first thought, was Kane 1's tier, which really just has a bunch of gun mages, and they're really good. They're defense 15, they're really good shots, they're all magical. And normally in War Machine, it's usually the rule you can only have 2 of a unit. Well, in his tier, they're unlimited. You get +1, you get first turn, and all these other nice things. So, and also they're cheaper, which is also even better there. So I think that's what I do there. What would be next review for casters? So the last one was Kaya. So now we're going to be coming back to War Machine. With this being the Christmas season, with my brother being back here, I am hoping to do Krios. So Krios should be the next one. If I can't grab him, then it'll be Magnus, P. Magnus. But my brother is a really good Krios player. So if I can get him on to talk about that stuff, that would be really good. I mean, it's one of these things where he's a starter caster, right? Krios. He just comes with a starter box, and so you might think that, oh, okay, he's kind of crappy. No, 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 no. Pete Krios is a nightmare. And of course, I mean, when I do the video on him, the caster review, I'll cover it more there. But his biggest thing is his feet, which is knockdown. So it's not like Sorsha's. Like Sorsha's makes everything stationary. And for those who don't know War Machine, that basically means they're getting automatically hit and all these crazy bad things. But whereas Sorsha needs to see them, Krios just says everyone within my range is knocked down. And not only are you being automatically hit, but then all of a sudden you are not blocking line of sight either. So if you thought your caster was safe because you had all these things in front of you, no, they're knocked down now. And now I'm shooting you and I'm missing only on double one. So it's pretty scary. And as well, if you have some sort of magical thing to keep you safe, he also has purification. So, for example, with my P. Kane, I have a spell, so I can't be knocked down. You think that'd be like ace in the hole. Nope. Purify. Get rid of that spell. Okay, now feet. Knock you down. It's pretty tough. You know, he runs it with a couple of Reckoners and a Repenter, I want to say. The one that shoots like multiple rockets. And they just take down your casters like that. And you know, even if you aren't going for caster kill, if you knock down all their troops like that, you're probably going to be able to kill all their stuff. You know, get in there with your errants. They're going to kill and Swift Hunter or whatever they get there, and just kill something else. And it is really deadly. I believe too, I was the one who got him started on it. I believe that he was looking at more of the other casters, and I was the one that said, hey, man, you should be looking more at this Krios guy. So really, I only have myself to blame for all the terror he's caused me. But yeah, like I said, he'll be here over Christmas, so hopefully I can get him on to talk about that, and he'll have lots to say. So see now if there's anything else on here. What are we doing for time? Only 15 minutes in. I've got the black on this now. That's something. It's not too bad. But yeah, definitely there's a lot more casters I need to get to with this caster review thing I'm doing. And I'm really happy to see that it is being well received. Definitely this is an area that is kind of the War Machine equivalent to the Orc Tactical Team. I mean, later on, I'd like to be getting into more actual deeper tactics and stuff like that. But the first thing I need to do is just cover all these casters. Because like I've said several times, the very first problem when you're trying to get good at War Machine is just knowing all the casters out there and all the different tricks they can do and all the rest of it. And so having a series like this, or, you know, it's basically, in a way, just like Chain Attack as well, right? They do that where every Friday they grab 2 more casters and they make them fight, and then they talk about them and also score them too. And that's actually one part I do want to avoid. I know there's a lot of people that just want to know, like, oh, what is the best caster in Signar? And I don't want to be saying that so much. I'd rather bring about the same positivity as I did when I was covering the fantasy stuff, because even though I will say that, okay, this is a better matchup for more scenarios, I mean, everybody still has their situation, right? I mean, there's times that Sloan is better than Kane. There's times where Constance is better than Striker, and you really have to then decide to focus on those scenarios, right? On those points. If you decide, I want to be a Connie player, well, that's great. Then make sure you know exactly what she is good at and build around it. So hopefully that's what people will get from this series I'm doing. And I will start with all the starter casters first, But then after that, if there's somebody you want me to cover, just post it up. If you decide, you know what, I really want to know about, like we said, Sloan. Okay, just let me know, and I'll try and make her next. It's not like I have this really planned out. I mean, other than knowing I want to do all the starting casters first, and I'm going to be jumping between War Machine and Hordes, that's really it. I know the next Hordes one will be P. Lilith, and that's one I don't need to wait for anybody to cover. I can cover her myself. I love me some P. Lilith. But also getting excited this weekend here. I'm running my Masters event, and we did get to the full 32 people, so biggest tournament I have ever ran. I now have to scramble to make sure I have everything together, such as food and everything else, which I was actually supposed to arrange today, and I forgot, so that's dumb of me. Luckily, I'll be close to that place again. What do I always do? I mean, it's so easy for the food, where some other guys do pizza or wherever like that. I say, you know what? Let's eat something that's actually healthy, and I just get Subway, right? I budget $10 per player, and from that'll get you, Pops, and then also I get you Subway, and that's fairly healthy. Just got to make sure I know who the vegetarians are and all that stuff. It's actually funny that people don't want to share that information. I make a post asking who's vegetarian, and I'll have guys sending me a personal message as opposed to responding on the thread because they don't want people to know. So it's just, what do you think's going to happen when you get there that day, right? There you are. It's lunchtime, and you're being given the special veggie sub. And really, if you're a person who decides that's what you want to do, right? I want to be a vegetarian. You might as well stand by it. No real point in hiding it. But yeah. Another thought here on the channel as well, too. Good to see that even though I am still losing subscribers as I lose my fantasy base, I am still gaining subscribers. So it's one of these things where I am losing over a period 200, but then I'm gaining 100. So, you know what? That's fine. It'll be a slow transition where the fantasy guys basically give up on me. I was wondering that too, right? If all of a sudden ninth came and I've already made it on Team Canada and I'm ready to focus on to fantasy again, these guys will be like, well, where'd you go? Malorian comes back. Are these guys going to come back? But better not to focus on that stuff. I was starting to look at all the other guys too and wondering the best way that I should be improving this as a War Machine channel, trying to look at the battle reports out there that are getting the most views. And again, it seems whenever I do this and whenever I go out there and I try and see which battle reports are getting the most views, it's always the video ones. But I'm just not able to replicate that. My picture quality on this camera here just is not good enough. I'd have to go out there and invest hundreds of dollars in order to get a camera that could do that. So comes the question, is it worth it, or should I just leave it the way it is? Should I do my own thing and do pictures? And I know whenever I actually bring this up, right away everybody comes and says like, no, Malorian, just do your own thing. And I hear you, but man, it's always tempting that whenever I see the ones that are getting lots of views, they're doing the video. And of course, too, they have all the fancy skins and stuff on there, too, which I'm not doing. So that's easily something I probably should be trying to do. But if anybody knows a good program for that, because that's pretty much the reason why I don't do that stuff, is that that's past my level of understanding, right? I know the basics of how to make these videos, but as far as adding the extra skins on top and where it'll say like, oh, this is how many control points they have and all these things, or it's kind of like a scoreboard on there as well, I'm not really sure what programs people are using to do that. And I'm sure that for those, there must be cheaper versions out there, right? I'm sure there's some really expensive versions, and I'm sure there's some affordable ones too. So, and probably all it is having to go out there and actually getting a professional video editor rather than using the free one I got with my computer. That's probably the first step. It's probably actually bog standard, right? You probably just, whenever you buy one of those professional packages, it's just part of it. Christmas is coming. Maybe I should have asked for that for Christmas, but I seem to think that some of those things are pretty expensive as well. I actually, today on the Signar forum, people were talking about how many points they had of Signar. So I thought on the side, I might as well count up my Signar, see how big of an army I have. And I had, if I ran Nemo 3, which is, I would do that because he has the fewest jack points, so you end up with the biggest army. But the biggest Nemo 3 army I can make is 452 points. That's crazy. You know, I knew I was getting all the jacks and the units and then getting doubles of units and stuff like that, but I never thought I was up that high. So I'm definitely proves that I'm invested in Signar. Also made me think that I probably want to try and use some of those more of those units. In fact, yesterday I was putting together the UA for the trenchers. Trenchers, the regular trenchers, you don't really see those guys. They used to be good, but now they just don't really have that output. It's great that they can do a smoke screen and they can dig in and all that stuff, but they just don't have that killing potential that, say, like the gun mages do with their really good accuracy and all the rest of it. But their UA makes them kind of interesting, where normally they just have to kind of like dig in and shoot whatever comes. With their UA, you can move up, shoot, and then re-dig in, which makes them a lot more interesting. I think as well you can move up to clouds, and the biggest thing for that is all of a sudden you have this unit in the front which is making clouds and blocking line of sight to everything in the back. So in the back you have all these guys. It can be low defense and shooting. Like, either there's two ways this can work. One, you're running a shooting list and everything in the back is shooting and doing their thing, and after they all activate, the trenchers in the front go and they pop smoke and make a wall. Now you can always shoot at those trenchers, but they're dug in with cover, and good luck trying to actually getting any good work done against them. Or the other way is, if, let's say, you're running a combat army, and so this is where the UA would come in, where the whole force is moving forward, and where you have some of these storm blades and storm guard that are low defense. Well, it doesn't matter, because you have this moving trencher line that's putting up the clouds, and the last second, blah, that's where they charge through, right? So, sorry. I think I'm going to try more of that stuff out. See if you got any more questions here. My nose goes crazy. Nope. No more questions yet. We're about halfway through this so far. Did just the black and the cleanup. I mean, these these colossals, they take a fair amount of time. And when I talked about the speed painting, you don't exactly speed paint a colossal. Well, I mean, you could. There's actually no reason why you could not speed paint a colossal, but it's a lot more evident. I mean, this thing is going to be a centerpiece on the board, so everybody's going to be looking at it. It's not just going to be that random guy in the corner. You know, this is the majority of your points. It is the focus of your army. And so if you don't go and make sure you catch all the details, people will see that. They will notice. Nope. Unfortunately, I got a bunch. This red is separating on me. So I smeared a bunch of oil basically all over my model. That's no good. There we go. Couple of you watching again. Whatever you guys want me to talk about, just post it up there. one of the things that I did with this too is that because I got all those 32 people from this tournament I'm going to be running to, sign up, send me their lists, I'm also doing a separate competition where I am releasing all the first round pairings, everybody's lists, and I'm saying, hey, we're going to be doing a competition, and if whoever can guess the most correct times, really who's going to win each of the pairings is they're going to win a prize, right? And the biggest thing that I don't know what to do with this is whether I should be releasing the stats of that or just be awarding the prize. Now, there certainly are people that are interested in knowing, right? Like, how many people thought I was going to win my game? But at the same time, I kind of want to protect that because certainly I don't want to say, oh, so-and-so thought you were going to lose and so-and-so thought this person's going to win, right? Because all of a sudden, if it's somebody's buddy, like, whoa, why are you saying I'm going to lose, right? There's that issue. And then as well, there's just, even if I give the rough stats after, right? If I just say, 80% of the people thought you're going to lose that first game, people don't want to hear that. So I really would not like to post up those stats, but so far, the majority of the feedback, actually all the feedback, has been, no, release those numbers. Now, I'm sure that's also just comes down where they're just the vocal majority. So I'm sure these same people that don't want to be seen and don't want to talk about how badly they're going to do, they're probably not piping up in that post either. But it was interesting, just wondering, you don't really see that as much in fantasy, right? Where it seems where the larger tournaments, it's a lot more common for the War Machine to be posting up these first round pairings and all these things, and people are wondering who's going to win each of these. It doesn't really come up as much as fantasy. And that could be, again, where Privateer Press supports their tournaments more, so you get more of this organized play that's covered by their own podcast and all the rest of it. But it'd be a lot more interesting to see that, for the big masters for fantasy, it's going to be Vampire Counts versus Bretonnians, and this is the list, and this is who we think is going to win. Then again, for fantasy, probably wouldn't be as interesting because, of course, you only have the one list. So whenever you see set counters, okay, this guy's basing on magic. These guys are dwarves. They have lots of points in anti-magic. Oh, okay, we see where this is going. As opposed to when there's multiple lists, you have to really wonder, oh boy, which list are they going to drop? What scenario are they going to get? So get to the point here where I'm just getting on the first few colors, and it's, as always, like I mentioned, it's nice to see how just getting a couple of main colors makes such a big difference to a model. I mean, right now, I really just did like the black tubing. I did wherever there's the red lights, and now I'm going to be doing all the boxes, because for some reason this guy has like boxes tied to him. I don't know what's in these boxes, but he has boxes on him, so I'm painting those up. And just with that, already I would feel okay dropping him on the table, right? If I then also made sure to spend another couple of minutes to get the silver on his weapons and, make a couple more key things, it really doesn't take long before he's not embarrassing to take. Here's another thing with these boxes, too. These boxes are way up at the top. If you think that these are like spare parts or something like that, like this is where they keep the instruction manual and how this bloody thing works, it'd be somewhere near the bottom where you could access it, but all of it is way at the top. And there's not even like there's access hatches up there or anything. So literally, if like the same team, if the mercenaries want to get whatever in these boxes, this guy has to like lie down so they can get up and get to it. The same thing is on this model here. This is called the Mule. And if you can see on his gun there, he has like a barrel full of black powder that goes into his gun, yeah, that's probably not a good idea. Take all the armor you want in the world. If you design your system like that, people are just going to start shooting that barrel. I'm assuming my wife just ran by. I keep on trying to convince her I need to do more things on her channel. Apparently, the hobby community on her side, though, isn't too impressed with me and how I make fun of her videos. So much for that. They don't accept trolling as much as our hobbies do. Any more boxes? Any more silly random boxes? Nope, that's it. So maybe that's what I'll do now. Now I'll start getting some of these silver parts on it, just like the bigger effect ones, like his trident. We have one here from John Feed saying, have you ever participated in any War Machine leagues, escalation or otherwise? What are some of your favorite features of the leagues you have been in? The leagues I've been in is, I mean, a lot of the leagues I actually kind of avoid just because I like the more standard, like Steamroller and so forth. But I have gone into the journeyman leagues. I like those ones, especially when I was getting to new factions or when I had lots of stuff to paint, because they're designed, okay, let's start with a starter box set, and then every week it slowly grows, slowly grows. You get points for painting. You get points for winning, of course. And it really encourages people to start new factions and to paint up their things. And so even times where I already own the faction, like with my Gators, I already owned them. But when the Journeyman came up, I used that as something to self-motivate myself to actually paint all my Gators. And I painted almost all of them over the one league. So the Journeyman leagues I definitely do like. The escalation leagues are, I do like the idea where they have the leagues where you go in and play, and whereas normally you would have that feeling like I did where like, it's just a silly league thing that doesn't really mean anything, except for forcing you to play smaller games. What Privateer Press will do is say, hey, you know, as the either side start winning, we'll release pictures of upcoming models. So that's a really cool idea. He also says, I always think of Galleon as like a transformer. When they're done fighting, they go back to the sea, and he turns back into a ship, and they sail away. Boxes are just from their provisions. Yeah, well, I don't know. Could this guy actually be transforming into a ship? I don't know. I always see this guy in more than the other one, like more than the Stormwall. I see this guy more as the, no, not the kaiju. What do they call it? The Jaeger from Pacific Rim. You know, he always seems to have more of that feel to it. But yeah, I like the look of the Galleon. I know some people don't. I think he looks kind of cool. Oh. I keep on trying to find some way to better use them with my Signar, but talking about a boat, I'm still waiting for that to happen, where they're going to come out with the battle engine for the Italian chapter, the Pirates, and it's actually going to be, you know, a boat, right? Like a boat with wheels or something like that. They just recently came out with the pictures for the dwarf one, and so that's kind of like this crazy, crabby, whatever type thing. So it'd be good if they can get the Italian chapter in there too. I can't even think of what was the last pirate model that came out. You know, that's one of those ones that doesn't seem to be getting as supported as much, which is too bad because it's such a cool chapter. Now, I know one of the problems is that if you ever want to release a solo, they have to really think of how that's going to work with Shay's tier, because I believe Shay's tier, maybe they do just list them, but they get all their solos for like a point cheaper. So it gets pretty crazy. If you just came up with a bunch of new solos, you just be making Shay insane. But man, you actually never see Shay. I think I should play him. Like, his big shtick is that he takes his infantry and he just rushes them across the field. And I mean, I run press gangers like that anyway, so I mean, I might as well do it with Shay. So I'm sure whenever it finally comes to that point, that I'm done with Signar and I'm ready to focus on something else, I'm pretty sure now that that something else will be Mercenaries. That's the one that always does kind of keep calling back to me. Circle are fun too, but I already have quite. I mean, I would need to buy quite a bit of the Circle to make it to that competitive level. I have a lot of the beasts, but I don't have a lot of the infantry. So, whereas with the mercenaries, I have a good, well, not a good number of the beasts, or the jacks rather. I really just bought the ones I wanted, and then for the most part, the biggest thing there is of a lot more of the mercenary infantry. I mean, of course, when I played Mercs, I got all the infantry then. Um, and then as well from doing the Signar, I got even more. So, it'd be interesting to do. Here's one. Oh no, it already went away. There's something on there talking about some land ship. And unfortunately, it took the comments away before I got to actually say it. I don't know if it was the name of the dwarf battle engine that was released, but they always come up with those crazy ideas, right? I mean, you look at the Convergence battle engine, and it's like this weird kind of like tick type thing that has these crazy sprays, and the way that it gets its sprays, or depending on how these little tiny robots are standing around it. And then they come out with the dwarf one, which is more so, it looks like just like an artillery piece. As far as I know, the rules have not been leaked yet for it, but it looks like it's basically just going to be a big artillery battery. With the legs it has, it can't be very fast or anything like that, which would go along just perfect for Seer Forge. They're not exactly known for their speed. But if they got a better shooting option like that, speed doesn't matter if you can force your opponent to come to you. So that could be what they're going for. But the problem is that the shooting battle engines don't seem to do as well. I mean, just look at the Siege and the Mantrax, but even ones that are fairly good, like the Signar battle engine is the Storm Strider. It gets 2 shots. It could be, more accurate via Rangers, or spells can help it out. But even those Storm Striders, you don't see very much, just because you can't boost. I mean, okay, sure, the Storm Striders can boost, but they have to be shot first in order to get tokens to boost. Meanwhile, if you were to take a Defender or something like that for the same cost, sure, it gets 1 shot instead of 2. However, you can actually boost that damage. And a lot of times that makes a world of difference. So we'll see what they can do with that. I'm going to go over to the other thing here, see if I can refresh it and get what that comment was that popped up on here and then just disappeared. Here it is. John Feed again saying the Marienburg land ship. I don't know if that's referencing something historical or if that's the name of the actual thing, but yeah, it'd be really cool if for the pirates, if that's what their battle engine was. It's kind of like this ship that would go across, have your cannons on there. It'd be interesting. I'm still, man, the jankiest stuff is in Mercs. Because you get so much stuff in there that's just out of this weird world weird. I mean, you have the whole thing where you can be running 3 Colossals if you wanted. You have Durgan where you can just make guys explode when they die. You just don't see that stuff other places. And so often people just pass by the mercenaries like, oh, they're not any good. Mercenaries have their tricks. Now that they're getting even more options, say with the Cephalics, I think people should give them more respect than what they're normally getting. Ugh. Problem these big models sometimes, I don't know where to hold them. All right, let's get something on this claw. like I said, right now I'm basically painting for effect. Trying to spread it out onto the main part so that when people look at it, it'll look better. This Wednesday, we are actually going to be doing some practice for Masters. So another Signar player will be coming over with his 3 lists. He is going to be running Striker 2, Kane 2, and actually Sloan. So that's kind of interesting. And unfortunately, I can't make exactly the list that I want because my brother is borrowing my press gangers. So my whole jam type list isn't going to work the way that it normally does. But what I had set up for my master list to face him is going to be my siege list, which I like very much. It's going to be my striker 1 list with double galleon, not double galleon, double storm wall. So that's always an interesting one. And then the last one is actually going to be a Kane 2 list that's more of the jam type thing. So again, it's not jam in terms of me having my press gangers to get up there, but still, it should do a fairly good job. You know, double gun mages, double rangers, and other things. And really, it's just running up there. What do I got? I got Nis, I got Alexia, and it's really just putting a lot of guys in your face and then still shooting you with Kane at the same time. So, unfortunately, given his drops, I don't think that's going to be the right one for me to use against him. Pretty sure I'll be using Siege. Again, comparing my channel to other channels, I feel that's another thing that I'm really missing out on is having a diversity of casters on the channel. You know, especially since they're usually me playing at least one side. It's usually Signar all the time. Actually, when I was first making the list to face this guy on Wednesday, I did Circle, and then I realized that given the pairings, I would have to drop Baldur 2 anyway, and we're probably just going to have another Kane 2 versus Baldur 2, and decided that, you know, for both of us, it's probably best for me not to do that. Because as much as he probably would rather not do the mirror match against, you know, Signar versus Signar, it doesn't help him to keep on trying out the same matchup either. You know what I mean? There's nothing stopping me from dropping Chromac or something else. However, I'm not going to just let myself die by taking bad drops, right? It's not helping him either. Oh. Keep on buggering it up by touching what I've already painted. Also not exactly getting the light exactly where I need it. So how are we doing for time? We got about 15 minutes left. So, I mean, clearly I'm not going to be finishing this guy, but I'll get a few more things done on him. If you guys have any last things you guys want me to talk about, of course, post them up. Starting next week is where I'm going to be posting up posts saying, hey, give me your questions a day earlier. So look down for the link for my Google Plus, and you can send me your questions there. That way you don't need to have to worry about needing to be up at whatever crazy time I decide to do these. You can just send me your questions and then relax. I think that will work a lot better for everyone. It's a cool thing. The Galleon, the cool thing about the Galleon is how it has this big, huge hook. So, I mean, just the idea where it would shoot out and then has a drag function. So you shoot some heavy, you draw them in, and then you kill them. You know, that was so cool and unique and awesome. And from looking at the weapon there, you could just see it. But then they had to come out with the Prime Axiom. And he doesn't even look like he'd be able to do that, right? He just has 2 hands, and now apparently they both do drag. And, you know, it's just poor Galleon. You know, like, that's his thing. And then all of a sudden they come out with the Prime Axiom, which just, how about you do that twice? I mean, the Galleon's still good. And I mean, it's almost like a non-issue because it's not like mercenaries can take the Prime Axiom anyway. But This kind of takes away that special feeling that you had with the Galleon. I mean, before the Galleon came out, you just didn't really have to worry about being dragged from nowhere to a huge colossal. You know, there's other models that had drag, say like the Swamp Troll or whatever, but you know, getting dragged to a Swamp Troll or being dragged to a Colossal, two very different things. Or there's, you know, always the janky ones too. Say like Proteus. I always try to make that work with him. Proteus, Lilith 2. I gotta go back and make that work. Maybe that's what I should have done for tomorrow. For Wednesday, rather. I should have gone with my Legion. Could have gone my Epic Thagrosh Archangel list. There's another one that's always calling me back. It's my Legion. I gave Legion a year. I already remember how I just did not really enjoy it the same amount. I mean, I would do the dude spam there. I'd be doing a dude spam with Callus, and it's just Callus doesn't have the same tricks as, say, E. Haley or Kane 2 or whatever. I mean, he's not bad. I mean, he has Dark Guidance, which is pretty freaking amazing, but he's no Striker 2 or Kane 2 assassination-wise. He has Flashing Blade, but that's not really threatening people. Not like Kane 2's feet. Or Striker's Super Saiyan ability. All right. So that makes this look better. I'll get this chain as well. So we'll see if you have anything else you guys want me to talk about. Oh, wait. John Feed saying I said Marienburg Landship in response to the Pirate Battle Engine. And everything moves. Rafael Mash saying, oh, yes, Legion, Team Badass. That's right, Team Badass. That was a fun list to run. For those who don't know what that was referring to, is I did this list that was actually a lot of fun where it was Epic Thagrosh and then basically all the real heavies. So we're talking the Carnivean, the Scythian, Proteus, Typhon, Ravagore, you know, those heavies. You know, not like the Angelius heavies, but the real solid heavies. And I just run all of them. And it actually works out perfect for 50 points. There's no units, there's no solos, just them. And it was fun because, I mean, you have all these heavies that as long as you can play them well, and I mean, you have an okay ranged accompaniment there because you have the Ravagore that can pick out some random things. Everybody always forgets that Thagrosh has a pretty awesome spray as well. So, and then whenever I needed to, I could always feat to either kind of like attack and back away, or I could feat so I just get that extra attack and get deeper into their lines. But it actually worked out fairly well. And I mean, of course, sure, I would lose beasts, but Team Badass has had so many beasts, even after you kill a few of my guys, there's still a lot more. So, I mean, it wasn't ultra competitive or anything like that, but it did well, and it was fun. So that'd be another one I'd be willing to go back to. Only problem is that, of course, it's now competing with my Archangel list, and it's just fun to beat people with Archangel, right? They look at that guy, they're like, oh, he sucks. Oh, okay. We'll see how you're thinking when all of a sudden he's +4 armor and your main lines have been decimated by an initial Shredder Swarm. All of a sudden that Archangel is a little bit more scary. It's a little bit more respect. So, I don't know. Sometime I got to pull that stuff back out again for a surprise. Again, like I said, if I can have it so that I'm getting multiple games a week, I'll probably do one Signar and then the other one something more fun. So that's where I'll be in a position where I can take out Team Badass or something like that. I ran my kids through their first game. That was pretty interesting. Basically, all I had to do to make that happen was just take out the spell card. And then I was able to run them through, and they were able to understand the rules. Can't wait till they're at the age where they can just play. You know, if it's some evening and it's like, hey, I want to do a War Machine game. Hey, She-Ra, let's have a game. And I mean, of course, again, I won't want to go and pull out my best Siege list or E-Haley or whatever. But, you know, that's the good times where I do want to pull out Team Badass or something and just have some fun. And, I mean, that's not going to be now. She's just about 7. But, you know, give it like 3 more years where she's 10. All of a sudden, like, okay, she can start going to tournaments now. And should be a lot of fun doing like these daddy-daughter getaways where go to a tournament in a different city or something like that, have lots of fun. It'd be nice if my son would show more of an interest in it, but we'll see what he decides he likes. A lot of times I think he says he doesn't like the things I'm doing just to piss me off. He's in that stage. All right, we are getting to the last 5 minutes. I've done about what I wanted to do. So we'll see if there's anything else here you guys want me to talk about. Probably get like the one more topic or something. And then we'll probably call it a day for this one. We're currently watching the series Hell on Wheels. It's this series that's talking about the train, making it, and you know, all the murder and stuff that happened in the West. It's pretty interesting. Oh, here, John Feed saying that actually that land ship, oh, that's right. It's a Forge World Empire thing. So nobody ever uses it as its actual thing. A lot of times people buy it and they'll use it as a steam tank because it looks pretty cool and unique. But yeah, it would be that type of idea is what I was trying to get at. Let's see if there's anything else here. Say away, blah, blah, blah. So I don't see any other questions here. So again, thanks for watching. Really, I want to hear again what you guys were working on. And again, I'm going to be posting down below the link to that Google Plus, and then starting next week, because even though I really wanted to try and do this the same time every week so that I can actually get multiple people on here, you know, I was hoping to get